Hi, today's exercise we're going to actually have a look at HVAC zones and adding them to the project. We'll also examine the zones and spaces in the system browser. And finally we'll end up with a view of zone names by colour. So first thing I need to do is duplicate the existing view. This view then, once created, I'll rename it. So let's right hand click on here and say rename. And we're going to change this to our zones view. So we've got a couple of section markers in here that we don't really need for this particular view. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the section marker, and then I'm going to right hand click and hide this. And I'll hide the category to get rid of the other section marker at the same time. So the next thing to do is to be able to view the HVAC zones is we go down into our visibility graphics, expand this out so we can see the interior fill and the reference line. We'll turn those on. But in the meantime, well, we'll actually have to get rid of the interior fill for the spaces. And once I've gone OK, you'll see those spaces fill disappear. So let's get some zones in here. So Analyze tab, Zones. Now automatically we should have add spaces already selected. So all we need to do is select those spaces, give them a name. So let's change this from just 1, we'll change this to Classrooms 1. And we just need to finish the actual creation of the zones. And all we need to do now is do exactly the same for the opposite side of the corridor. Now I could select these individually, but I'm going to use the crossing window in here. You'll also notice that it just goes up to classroom 2, so automatically just changes the number but keeps the classroom name for these zones. So across to the other side of the other wing for classrooms 3, and finally for now we'll just do the other classrooms here on the other side of the wing to make a zone called classrooms 4. Finish that off. So you can see those zones already in here. So the next thing I need to do is tag these. So let's go into annotate and tag by category, and you'll see here that once I select these zones, they're tagged automatically. Great. So let's just zoom in and take a look at that tag. Yep, great. That's there's our tags. So let's zoom out so we can see the whole view. Now we're going to explore the zones and spaces a little bit more. So to do this, I need to turn on our system browser. Now I could hit F9 or I could use the menus just to turn that on. So you'll see these are set to systems. What I need to do here is change that from systems to zones. And there's our 4 classroom zones already created. Now there's always going to be a default zone. Now this is where all of these spaces are hidden away in. Now these spaces, you'll see the icons are slightly different, and we've got a problem here with these plumbing chases that are set to occupiable, and I can tell that by the icon. So let's change the properties in here. Let's take the tick away from occupiable. So we take that tick off and the icon will change next to them. So we've got a couple of other ones in here. There's one here that's got the same problem. So I select this chase and tick the tick away. You'll also notice there's a couple of icons with question marks in them. Now these are spaces that have originally been added to a particular room, but the rooms disappear, the spaces disappear, but the tag still exists. So let's remove this one and one more down here, this chase. So right hand click and delete, just gets rid of that, keeps it tidy, like so. So what we will also notice is that when we actually select these spaces, it actually highlights the space. But in this case, the space doesn't exist in the view. So if I actually right hand click and go show, it'll actually tell me that it's actually going to go and find a view, and it will find a good view of that particular space. And this can take a little bit of time because it checks all of the views, make sure it gets the best one. And there it is. It's opened up our Classroom Planner 1's view, where we can get a better look of that particular space, and it's highlighted it there for us. Let's just clear that down. And in fact, what we'll do, we'll use the close inactive views option, so we get back to our particular view. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to actually have a look at put a color scheme on this one, on this view. So if we use it in the properties, you can see color scheme here is set to none, so we have nothing set. So we select that button and we'll get a dialog box for the edit color scheme. So the first thing we need to do is make sure we're changing the HVAC zones schema, and there's a schema 1 already created for us. So there's our classrooms, and these are the colors which are configurable. We can select those, change those. First thing I'm going to do here though is actually change the name of our schema, so we know it's for zones. So if I just pick OK there, and we'll also change the title. So let's change that title to Zones Legend. So again, anyone else using this can see exactly what it's for. And once I've gone OK, you'll actually see that the zones that are already in there will take on the colors in that particular scheme. Any other zones that are added will automatically get added to the color schema as well. And there's our 4 different colors for our 4 different zones. Make it a lot easier to understand. We're going to use the just go to Analyze, and we're going to use the color fill legend here, and we'll plonk that down so you get a color fill legend, so you can actually see what color goes with what zone. Finally, what I'm going to do here is just remove the reference lines, so into VG, Visibility Graphics, and turn off the HVAC zones reference lines. So that's zones within Revit MEP.